If the government can tell us who can be born, that same government will also be able to tell us who has to die. We need to believe and continue to stand forth that life begins at conception and it ends when God calls us home, not when Ezekiel Emanuel decides it's time for us to go home.
Wow. Well, NBC's Brian Moore joins us live in Washington. Brian, give us a wrap-up of what we've been hearing today.
Hi, Nora. Well, in a lot of ways, this is really a social conservative Tea Party. About 2,000 people gathered in this ballroom throughout the day to hear not just speakers like Mike Huckabee, but also Carrie Prejean, the woman who could have been Miss USA, Stephen Baldwin, the reality show actor. But for the most part, off of this stage, it's Congressman Roy Blunt who's speaking right now. A very middle-of-the-road kind of message. They are talking about abortion and gay rights, but they're also talking about big government. But coming up tomorrow, there's going to be a very interesting breakout session, a couple of them, in fact. Let's go over some of the titles. Certainly eyebrow-raising here. Here's some of the titles here. True Tolerance, Countering the Homosexual Agenda in Public Schools. Obamacare, Rationing Your Life Away. Global Warming Hysteria, the new face of the pro-death agenda. And Thugocracy, Fighting the Vast Left-Wing Conspiracy. These are just some of the things that are going on here tomorrow that people will be talking about. For the most part, though, off this stage, it's been a sort of inclusive agenda of a way to bring in more conservatives. And somebody here not liking what we're talking about right now. Nora?
And it looks like they're
You're being rude.
We're invited guests.
That's too bad.
And we're doing live television.
You're being rude. You can get out of here.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Well,
not everybody's a fan of MSNBC today.
I guess they don't want to hear people know what's going on in their Value Summit, even though the press hasn't been invited in, huh?
Well, actually, Fox is getting shouted down a little bit right now, too, so I guess it's equal opportunity shouting down. But let's talk about some of the...
about the fact that you are interrupting and being disrespectful to people who are trying to listen.
Okay.
Try and interview her, Brian.
Thank you.
Would you mind? This is about the rudest thing you could do.
We're on live with MSNBC. Please don't touch the microphone. Tell us what your thought is.
My thought is that you are rude to do this in front of the public.
Okay, even though we're a credentialed press brought here to tell your story and bring it out to the world, instead of 2,000 people.
Yeah, we got to take you over.
All right.
Okay. Time you've done that. We can't hear. We cannot hear when you are broadcasting. All we're asking is that you step outside when we're trying to listen because you are very distracting. That's all we are asking. Is to not be distracted.
Okay, and you are?
Yeah. I am Linda Putz, and I paid to come here to listen, not to be disrupted.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, Brian,
Linda.
it sounds like
continue on your report now.
Brian, it sounds like the people that organized that Values Voter Summit didn't organize it very well because they didn't seem to put the press in a way where you guys could do reporting about what's going on and not be harassed. I mean, they have a right to hear it, but you guys also have a right to report.
Absolutely.
Well, not only that,
the security people just grabbed somebody and escorted them right out. So
a member of the press, or the people that were harassing you?
No, excuse me. One of the gentlemen was here joining our live shot just a moment ago. Was escorted out and asked to leave.
Okay.
And well, it's great live television. You want to talk about the candidates in the straw poll? That's pretty interesting,
Brian,
too.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. And I understand, too, that, of course, Sarah Palin and Newt Gingrich are not there, but they will be part of the straw poll. NBC's Brian Moore, you're a good man for holding down the fort there, even though getting heckled by some of the people there. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Monica, I would have interrupted, but I thought it made good television to really see what goes on at a lot of these events, because a lot of times people come over to reporters and shout us down and say, get out of here, even though we're allowing more people to see what's going on there.
But not only that, as you said, he's telling the story, but also those cameras, we can't just make television quietly. I thought he was being as respectful as possible, but clearly they knew those cameras were set up there. It's not just one person walking in. You've got a cameraman, a crew, sound guys. I mean, so it was obvious that they were there set up, the credential press, and as he referenced, there were other networks there as well, other channels, so this couldn't have been a surprise.
Close it to the press. They're welcome to close their private event to the press. If they don't want us there, all those people paid for it, but they didn't do that. They invited the press in, and then they're rude to the press.
Well, in their defense, though, we're not sure exactly who it was, right? Because the one woman talked about, I paid to come here, so that makes me think maybe she's not one of the organizers. So we'll have to wait and see, but I'm sure Brian will find out exactly who was coming up.
I mean, they got to pay for the event, so I think people who come and attend and and listen to all these great speakers have to pay a fee. But anyway.
I can't imagine they'd invite them in. That's amazing.